Hello, friends, benders and non-benders alike. Welcome to Braving the Elements, Nickelodeon's podcast about all things Avatarverse. I'm Janet Varney.
And I'm Dante Basco. And Varney, I wish we were doing this episode on like a cold, foggy night, just so we can get the full film noir effect.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, remember we were covering The Voice in the Night, and when we were talking to Mike and Brian, that was one of the things that Brian was saying. He was like, I love this particular episode because he loved the sort of like noirish, kind of creepy vibe.
And I think that he even used this episode about how good our next guest is.
Yeah.
And Ryu, our next guest, Joaquim, with their jobs.
Yeah, Joaquim Dos Santos.
Hello,
we're bringing you right in because you came right in at the top of this series.
I did. Yeah. I was still, I think, reeling off of not having any Avatar in my life after the previous show ended. Yes. And we went quiet there for a little while, and the whole Avatar crew went to their own shows.
Yeah.
And then this came up, and the guys brought me back in.
Brought you back in.
Dragged you back in.
They did.
And so you and Ryu sort of split. Not split, but because you co-directed stuff. So it wasn't like you did one. It was like Mike and Brian wrote everything, and then you and Ryu directed everything, and and Mike and Brian said they were extremely spoiled by that.
It was, what's crazy is that I forgot that. So just last night, I'm like watching the episodes to kind of get a little refresher. It's been a few years.
Sure.
And then I'm going through and I'm like, Ryu and Joaquim. Oh my gosh, yeah, we totally...
From the Jump Street.
You ran the show.
And the thing that I remember most is remember Nickelodeon Studios, they had that little gymnasium off to the side, like a little basketball court. We would just take that entire thing over and put all the storyboards up on the wall.
That's amazing.
And we would just like stare at it and be like, all right, here's the episode. And it was me and Ryu into the night, just working.
That was your office.
That was the office.
The basketball.
Great.
That's right.
That's really great.
When Mike and Brian were here, I think, Brian, someone said that you did the first ever sketch of Korra?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Is that true?
That is true.
Did you know you were doing the first sketch of Korra, or you just...
Well, yeah. I mean, I think, when the idea was first pitched, at the time, I was working at another studio, and they said, hey, we're doing a follow-up to Avatar. We want you to come over. And I had just developed up this series, and it was like near and dear to my heart, and it was a thing that I had grown up with, and I was like, guys, I don't know, I'm in this thing. And they were like, Ryu's coming. I was like, Ryu was just here. What the heck? And then, so I politely sort of like said, I think I'm going to hang out here. And they said, all right. And Mike and Brian are great like that.
Right.
They sort of allow you to just have your creative space, and they go, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And Tim Yoon, who was our producer at the time, he called me back and said, all right, dude, I don't know what I got to do, but we need you here. And Mike and Brian will never say this to your face, but they want you to come. And what do we got to do to make this happen? And I remember feeling it when I hung up the phone the first time, like my heart was breaking a little bit. And I was like, this thing's going to happen and I'm not going to be a part of it. And I'm so sad.
FOMO.
And then that callback was sort of like the thing that I needed.
Yeah.
It was just like, we want to get the band back together.
Yes.
And so we did. And the sort of hot take was like, look, this character is the opposite of Aang. She's hot-headed. She's, impetuous. And Brian said, think like what is like a tough sort of Avatar universe snowboarder. Like, what does that mean?
I love that.
Right.
And that was the first sketch that came out. It was she's a waterbender.
Yeah.
I think I went with like a really shortcut, which Korra ended up getting eventually,
did.
anyways. And yeah, that was it. And then look, I'll always say, I basically do my best Ryu impersonation in terms of drawing. Then Ryu got the sketch and was like, hold my beer, buddy.
I got this.
I got this. And he did a sketch, and then it was just like we were sort of like trying to top each other. And then, Brian came into the mix, and everybody was throwing their stuff in. But I was technically the first one.
That's a big deal.
Sketch.
That feels like a big deal. Yeah, listen, nobody's going to be surprised I'm going to say check out the art book. But it's true, the art book from book one has so many great renderings and so many early sketches. And you can really see, I love that you guys take us through kind of the process of like, this was here, and then these eyes seem like they need to be a little bigger, and then this expression needed to be a little more stubborn. And the way that you can even just look at rough, like, seemingly pencil sketches, but see so much, and I think this is something that Mike and Brian really pointed out about you and Ryu, is there's so much life in a drawing. Like there's so much energy and action. You feel the action that just preceded the sketch, and you feel where it's going.
Right.
And to me, that's magic. Like I don't know how you do that.
I mean, that's the magic of those art books. You know, I think we always say, and I think it's something that Brian and Mike really took to heart with even the backgrounds in Korra. It's like, if you look at them, they're not totally tied down. They're very painterly and beautiful. So I think, we're huge fans of, development art and seeing those art books. And we want to get as close to that sort of, I don't even know how to say it. It's almost like sort of freestyling drawing onto the screen as much as possible. We want there to be as little, you look at the development art and you go like, that's amazing. Then sometimes you look at the screen, you go like, I don't know, like it doesn't really translate. We wanted to get that as close as possible.
Yeah, and definitely. When I was talking to Mike and Brian when we first started, because this was my first time watching the show.
Yeah,
from the beginning, I was like, the first thing that struck me is the screen was bigger, and then it felt like there was a step up in gamer quality of whatever was going on in the drawing. Like they were explaining the background, everything, but everything seemed pushed. Somehow. I
mean, that was, I think, the lucky thing about doing a follow-up is that you sort of get to go, holy crap, we got some big shoes to fill. Right. What are we going to do here? And it was just, visually, how can we make things feel more cinematic? How can we make technology in that time really took a big leap in animation, especially for series. And then if you look at Studio Mir, they were really, this was their first at bat as well. So everybody had kind of something to prove.
Yeah.
And that, sometimes that makes for things that are just like a lot of bluster, and you're like, I know there's not a lot of substance here.
Right.
We're
Don't look too close. Don't look too close.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But then sometimes it makes for things that I think, really do try and earnestly try.
Is there any other inspirations for of Korra's look outside the snowboarder thing? Because she's definitely looks like a. Was there anybody,
like
people, or
MMA, also MMA kind of stuff going on in there? But that's not what you're asking.
Oh, anything. I mean, I don't know, like MMA or anything.
Well, I mean, I do think that MMA is actually a good point. At the time when we were making that, Chris Cyborg was obviously a huge, and so we wanted to make sure that Korra felt formidable and that she didn't feel like she was doing all these amazingly badass things, but didn't have like the body type to sort of fit the action.
Yeah.
So it was, making sure that she had sort of like broader shoulders.
She got guns
and
out.
bigger back.
Guns out.
I know.
Guns are out,
Korra's
boy.
guns have inspired a lot of like fitness regimes. There are like Facebook groups where people come in and make the commitment to like get Korra's guns. And it's amazing.
awesome.
I love meeting people in person because they're gonna bust out those guns quick. And I'm like, it worked, y'all. It worked.
That's
it's
awesome.
great. And I meet so many women who do either dabble in MMA. I guess you can't really dabble if it's MMA, you're in MMA. But they're taking martial arts classes and they're teaching other people, and it's a real community. That I'm not saying that doesn't exist with the first series, but something very special I think happened with the way you portrayed Korra that made people feel like something about that was accessible, and part of it is her humanity and her flawedness. But also just the fact that, like, if you're going to be strong, you're probably going to look strong.
Yeah, you're going to actually look the part.
Yeah.
But I mean, even from like the minute we see her as a baby, you're like, oh gosh, all right, she's going to have some guns.
I'm the Avatar. You got to deal with it.
Yeah, that is true because there's so many, not just animation, even live action, where they have like littler people, guy or male or female, doing things that you're like, I don't know if they can actually
The physics of
physically
it.
do that. You know, maybe they're a superhero. You know, where Korra looks formidable, and like everything she's doing, you look like, oh yeah, she could definitely do that.
Yeah.
And they're older. They're older than the gang that we know.
Yeah.
So their bodies are just going to be different. Like Aang was a little waif, and you see him. Certainly, you see him grow, and you see him become more of a man and a little strong. But he's still so
still
young.
slight.
By the end of the
He's
series,
still
he's
He's
so
still
young.
very
That's
slight.
right. That's right.
Slight.
You know, everybody
I don't like
has
that
a
word.
gravity.
You don't like slight?
Some people.
How about if I say wispy? That's probably not what you want. You probably don't want that.
I did a red carpet one time, and they wrote it, the slight Dante Basco.
You're not slight.
I mean, just a few years ago. And I was like, really, slight?
I wouldn't ever
hell?
say
Wow.
that.
What kind of
Yeah.
adjective is that?
You could say Natalie Portman is slight.
Yes.
I don't know if I would say
I
Dante
was
Basco.
probably standing next to a bigger guy.
Yeah, whatever.
Maybe it was just slightly you.
Slightly me. What kind of adjectives are these?
Maybe you slighted them.
Maybe.
I never realized how many ways you could use slight
I
until
know,
just
pretty
now,
good.
and now it seems like maybe too many. No, but yeah, I think there's a gravity to, because certainly that's true of Mako and Bolin as well. Like
Yeah.
they are like
They're tanks.
They
Bolin
are
touches a
tanks.
tank.
Yeah.
Bolin is a barrel-chested dude.
I love him.
Totally.
I love little brothers
He
that are
loves to work
bigger than the
out.
big brother.
I mean, he's the earthbender. You see
I
him.
know.
He's doing presses with a floating.
Well, what was crazy
disc.
was at the time we had a jiu-jitsu place that's still there right down the street from Nickelodeon. So we'd get done with Korra and then we'd go down, train jiu-jitsu, and then come back and finish boards. And so we were like living the life at the
Yeah.
time.
That's phenomenal.
That was I don't know. It all sort of like goes into the alchemy of what the show wound up
Oh,
becoming.
for sure. I want to imagine that you guys had all your storyboards, and then when you had a particularly good idea, you'd be like, whoosh, and then you throw. The tradition is
We
you
just
throw a
bend it
basket,
up.
and it goes,
Oh,
yeah.
I see. Yeah.
Might as well take advantage.
Yeah. I think the basketball, I think at that point it had been sort of decommissioned. It was
I
like,
see.
this is no
Right.
longer meant for sports.
I see.
It's
I
such
see.
that's a weird room over there too, because it wasn't. I felt like it was for actors to fool around in while we were waiting to go.
Well, and that's where
into
some of the martial arts stuff was happening
did.
with, like,
Right.
Yeah.
Manny
we'd
and
sort
Kisu
of,
and
Exactly.
Yeah,
We,
yeah.
We'd sort of, kick out all the storyboard stuff on the walls, and then we do all the
Yeah, it definitely wasn't
references.
supposed to be
Yeah.
a workspace for the animators.
That's right.
you guys totally did take it over. That makes me so happy. That feels like something that's appropriate for the Korra
Yes.
of it all. Is like, I guess I'll use this area.
It's just going to be physical.
What are you going to do about it? It's great. So, do you have episodes in book one that you're particularly proud of for any reason, or it can be like because of the storyline, or just a particular moment that you? I mean, I know it's been a minute, so
Yeah.
no pressure.
Yeah, and we were just talking about this. I have this thing. I don't know if it's like self-preservation, but I like immediately forget about
No, we do too.
things
Yeah.
We
that
do too.
So as soon as they're done, but I did a little
Artist
research.
amnesia. Artist.
That's what
Artist
it is,
amnesia.
right? Yeah. I think the thing that stands out to me was seeing the sort of White Lotus members in the beginning, sort of walking in the blizzard.
Yeah.
And that was like the first time we got footage back where I was like, I don't think I have any notes on this. Like, this is like and that was like the best way to start something off.
Yeah.
And then the first time we saw Korra show up, and she's blasting her way through the the hole in the hut
I'm the
there.
Avatar. You ain't gonna have to deal with it.
That's right.
right.
You made her sound like a cute little old lady. I'm the Avatar. You're gonna have to deal with it.
Yeah, and you'll like it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that there's any one thing. It's sort of the collection of having worked
It's
on
also
all of it.
serialized, so it's like everything bleeds into the net. Each episode is so connected
It
to the
is.
episode before it.
And honestly, we didn't think, I think in the original idea for it, and I'm sure Mike and Brian talked about this, it was just supposed to be 12 episodes.
yeah, with the
Yeah,
I think
no,
they
they
said
talked
with like
about-
it's 12 episodes, but there could be more.
But there could be
They were
more,
like,
yeah.
great, let's treat it like its own isolated thing, so that we have a beginning, middle, and end, and it
Right.
doesn't feel as. And what
We
they
got to
said was
Amon
that-
quick. We got to
that
the
you
big
could get to
bad
the
quick.
you could
right.
get to the adversary, and those two interacting faster. It didn't have to be something they pushed way out into the distance, which
That's
is
right.
very cool.
Yeah.
You feel the urgency of the whole 12 episodes, I think, in a way that's really exciting. Like, once you get into, like, this episode, you really start feeling like, oh,
It's
we're
moving.
picking up.
Exactly.
It's gathering momentum quickly.
And that's honestly, like, in watching these episodes, I was so shocked by episode 4. We're, like, already here.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
this happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It's
thought
very
the
cool.
same thing. Attention food lovers, are you paying too little for your meals? Or even worse, getting generous portions of it? Get less for more at Kwong's Cuisine in the heart of Republic City. Enjoy some of our world-class chefs' best morsels like the suggestion of a clam, a whisper of broccoli, and 2 dots of soup, all for the price of a middle-class home. Kwong's Cuisine, where you can be sure the food is better than you are.
Well, we got to put into context where we are before we start talking too much more about the details of the Voice in the Night. We should just quickly remind people about the revelation and what we have been doing with our guests. If you're up for it,
Sure.
Good
is
luck.
challenging them to do their own version of Shinobi, the sportscaster.
Wow.
In that sort of
Originally voiced by
stylized
Jeff
way.
Bennett. Originally voiced by
in the
Jeff
voice.
Bennett. Yes.
In the voice, if you could
Give
approximate.
us your best one.
Wow.
Give us your best one. I know you draw pictures, but do some voice
Let's see
acting.
if we got the
All right,
copy
what
up
am I
here.
reading
So
here?
It's right
this is
there.
our version. So we wrote this. This is our version of a recap.
All right. I'm going to fail this 5 times before I get it right.
you'd be
Great.
Here we go. All right, so it's Mako and Avatar Korra to the rescue when Bolin gets sucked into a shady assignment. Remember how chi blocking used to be delivered by a smiling gal in a fetching pink ensemble? Well, now it comes in a terrifying steampunk package, and Avatar Korra's feeling the heat. Will the reunited fire ferrets be able to work together? Not together, but will the... We're gonna edit this together. Here we go. Will the reunited fire ferrets be able to work their magic?
Yes, it's all there.
It's there.
There we go,
It's
baby.
all there. I had to throw in the reference to Ty Lee for you.
I know,
because I know we
Chris.
talked about the idea of chi blockers.
That's
what we understood of chi
Yeah.
blocking
Yes.
was like she does it, but she's so delightful and cheerful
no, she was
when
so
she's
OP
doing
back
it.
in the
and
day.
it's just no big deal. And then the next time we see someone chi block, it's terrifying
It's
in this
steampunk
amazing,
ninjas.
Yeah.
intimidating package that
Wow.
looks. The design is so cool.
I mean,
Good job.
yeah, I think that's the thing is that like that power is so powerful.
Right.
Yeah,
The idea of an army of them seems pretty unstoppable.
yeah, for sure.
For sure.
And it's also like nobody said they couldn't also use technology, which almost feels like at first like you're like you're cheating.
That's
like
right.
if you chi block, then you should just chi block. It's like no, we can also electrocute
We
you.
can
What?
also do these other
Like,
things. Yeah.
Why would we limit
the
ourselves?
rules are changing fast in this Avatar
That's right.
time, this
Well,
new time.
Yeah.
What's funny too is that Avatar, the initial pitch was that you can have all this martial arts action, but it's elements. And
Yeah.
so chi blocking was like really the first representation of like physical connection.
Yeah, for sure.
But when you think about it, they're not really like injuring you in the traditional sense. It's not a big, punch to the
Right,
jaw or
right.
knockout shot. It's sort of like they're just blocking your chi. They're blocking your. So it's almost very delicate and very
It is.
precise.
Right.
And I think that's that's where you get to see the fear in the people it's happening to, because that's not what you're used to.
Yeah.
You're like, I can take a punch.
Yeah.
I can
Right.
take somebody firebending at me. I know what to do with that.
Right.
But if you're just like tap, 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 and like that debilitates me, how scary is that?
I know. And then we didn't really I personally didn't put all the dots together in the original series that chi blocking is part of what, Aang does to take take your
Yeah.
ability. It's like
Yeah.
it's an avenue of chi
Yeah.
blocking
Yeah.
to the nth degree, and you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no! And you didn't really think. I guess she did chi block. Ty Lee did chi block. Not just Azula. We all wanted her to be chi block. But
Yeah.
then Korra got hit a little bit.
Right.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
And you're like, okay. And now you're going, oh no! Now all these people can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scary.
It's a
Scary.
skill that
And they
can be
look like
taught.
steampunk ninjas. What's happening?
Well, it's like the goggles in the darkness,
It's
right?
so cool.
Oh, it's so good.
It's cool and
It's
scary.
genuinely scary. Okay, well, so let's talk about episode 4 of Legend of Korra, Voice in the Night.
The voice in the night.
We've established you, Ryu, Mike, Brian. This is the
Dream team.
This is the true dream team that's happening right now. We see Korra's fear very much. We've already been kind of talking about it. Korra's fear of not just the chi blockers, but of course of what Amon is capable of doing. And then we have this introduction of this character Tarrlok,
I am Councilman Tarrlok, representative from the Northern Water Tribe.
who is a real politician.
Real
He's
politician.
a real politician. He's
Water
got
tribe member.
Okay, all right. All right.
He brings me back to Yue's father. That feeling I had.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
When I watch, it's like, I don't like this dude. Like, I know Water Tribe
Yeah.
people are nice people, cool people. I think you're a nice person if you're Water Tribe.
Yeah.
Except every now, because you think when you say you're Fire Nation, you're me, like, you're a jerk. They're good folks in Fire Nation.
Hey, man.
As soon as you say you're Water Tribe, it's like, good people. But
I hear what you're
there
saying.
are some bad
I
people
hear what you're saying.
also in the Water Tribe.
I hear what you're saying.
I just want to put that out
You
there.
have the scar tissue and the defensiveness of someone who knows what the Fire Nation did.
I just wanted to put that out there.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree. You can't just blanket say everyone's this and everyone's that,
Right.
depending
That's right.
on what
Exactly.
their ability is. or where they're from.
Mostly
100%.
nice people in the water tribe.
Yeah.
However.
No, but I think it's interesting because I hadn't thought about like going back to the original series, but one thing that you do understand very quickly about the Northern Water Tribe is that it is very organized.
Yeah.
And it's clearly like, this is how we do things,
Right.
and this is why we are successful at it, and like there are rules, and we have to have council meetings, and you know, and
Jerky,
there's authority,
a little more jerky.
and there
jerkier
can
is
be,
what we're
you know,
getting
yeah, there can be like some rigidness there,
Yeah.
and there can be some kind of manipulating there that feels like politicking.
Right,
It feels like, what's your motivation here? Like,
Right. But it's also, I think that was the promise of the show is seeing that sort of industrial sort of, you know, revolution era. Like,
Right,
how do those traditions then sort of fit into this new political system?
totally.
That was
It's true.
the cool thing.
It's very
And it is a time where, like, you know, I think we kind of have a version of it, except that everyone acknowledges that like technology is moving at such a breakneck pace that we kind of can't like harness it in some kind of way that I
Yeah.
think is what people talk about being scared about it. But like in the Industrial Revolution, and you've tapped into this really great era where there is this sort of hyper, almost like the gold rush, this feeling of like
Yeah.
anything's possible, and like what does a captain of industry look like, and what is a sodomobile, and what makes it
Right.
special, and there is something really exciting about that, but it feels like it could teeter on the brink of like, are we in control of this, or is this control of us?
Well,
or
also
like,
it
how are we
can
going to
get
use
used
this?
for you know, nefarious purposes. I think
Exactly.
that's the side of it, is that, you know, you got people that are feeling sort of out of balance with those
Right.
who they feel are in power, and this is sort of the great evener in their
Yeah.
eyes.
It's true, but it's also the great evener for benders and non-benders.
Yes.
You know?
Well, this is the thing. I will say this. I know I'm saying this early in the game because we're only talking about episode 4, but let's see where we are when we get to the most valuable bending and non-bending conversations, because my experience so far has been, whereas in the first series, we had tons of candidates for like really valuable bending in an episode.
Yeah.
I'm already feeling like there are just as many moments
for
of
sure.
non-bending, whether it's
Right.
technology or manipulation or, you know,
Yeah.
the sophistication of all of that, where I'm like, oh, shoot. Like, you are actually, we can
It's
look
true.
on our own show and see the scales
Not to be
tipping.
an
Yeah.
equalist, but
Oh.
there's a
Bring
lot of
it.
more equal quality
Give
on
us that
this.
hot take.
No, I'm just saying, not to be an equalist at all. I mean, would never.
Just
But there, you guys were able to equalize benders and non-benders in
Sure. Well, I
this
think
whole series.
provide
really quick.
a whole lot of gray area, right? Is
Yes,
provide
well
a
said.
sort of moral
Right.
sort of gray zone where you're like, look, I don't agree with the methods, but I sort of understand
How it could have.
how it could have
Right.
arrived here.
Yeah.
We're seeing benders be scared of non-benders, where that was not the case in the original series. We had some very formidable non-benders. Sokka
Yeah.
being top tier.
Yeah.
Jet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jet being top.
Any,
But, I
any
mean,
chance to
Jet-
bring up
Jet
Jet.
was a top-tier
Any chance to
non-bender.
bring up Jet.
Jet was
saying,
gonna take
I'm
it.
just saying.
He loves Jet.
Hey, he was mine. Gotta be quicker next time.
I mean, just incredible.
Incredible, but no one was very afraid of them benders. It wasn't like
Right.
Zuko saw Jet was like, oh no.
Right,
Now
right.
these benders are seeing these chi blockers, Amon,
Yeah.
and they're. I mean, as we see in this episode, Korra shook. Korra is shook.
Yeah.
We see it from the very beginning
From
of the
the very
episode.
beginning, yeah.
In fact, let's look at that, because talk about like a reminder of the original series. Like, we know Aang also was plagued
Yes.
by these nightmares.
Yes.
It's like when you're young, you have nightmares, possibly and most likely, if you're lucky to grow up where we grew up, you're not having the kind of nightmares that an Avatar is having
Right.
about what could actually go deeply wrong. Let's take a look. Man.
I love Korra just waking right up out of bed.
And she
Right
loves
into
to
it.
start with fire.
Yeah.
She loves to start with fire, but
fire.
she's a firebender.
That's
at
right.
heart.
I know, she loves it.
Oh no.
Mask.
After I take your bending away,
No.
you will be nothing.
Oh. Oh, I mean, you really set it up.
shook.
It's the helplessness, you know?
But
Oh, God.
Naga's there to give you a lick.
On my, like,
Just had a bad dream.
on my fourth watch of this episode, I was like, how good can that small room smell?
I mean, my tiny dogs do a job.
My dog's breath is powerful.
Yeah.
It's like a bending of its own. It's like
Yes.
smell bending. And Naga's big, so I don't know,
hate,
really.
I don't hate, but I'm not a big fan of horror films, as you know. I don't like.
Yeah, you don't like a jump scare.
I don't
You
like a jump. But and this takes me back to Puppet Master.
Hello, children. Sorry to frighten you. My name is Hama.
Shades of Hama.
Shades of Hama. What's Hama doing? She's still in jail? She's dead by now.
I think Hama's, I think she's a goner.
She's a goner. The mother
Unless she's
of
like bloodbending herself to like
mother-
have, you know.
The
Side
mother
series,
of
side
bloodbending.
It's not
series.
bad.
So, I mean, so it brought me back to Little Puppet Master.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
we're
scary.
going in there.
It's
Did you
scary.
like horror film? Are you
love
like
the
horror
lighting.
film person?
So I went through this weird thing where I grew up loving like Romero films. I was a huge, Night of the Living Dead,
Yeah.
Dawn of the Dead. All of them. I love 28 Days Later.
I know, that one was like a game changer for me, for sure.
Incredible.
It's like, they can be like this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always a sleepover
And
night.
then-
We're going to watch all the movies sleepover. Like, why are we doing this?
I remember I watched The Exorcist, and I just thought it was real life. I was like, okay, so this is just
This
a
is a
documentary.
documentary.
I don't know what's
I
going
can't
on.
watch any of those things. It just scares me. I
Yeah.
grew up Catholic school too much. I'm like, this is happening, you
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
But I will say, when I had my kid, I don't know if it's like a genetic encoding thing happened. I was like, I don't want to watch these right
Yeah.
now. I don't want to be in this like space. And I'm now, my kid's 9. I'm starting to go like, maybe I'll check out this one.
Yeah.
He's
I
in the
have
same film,
nightmares
coming
about
back.
that. So I don't want to have nightmares.
Yeah.
I don't want to think, and then all of a sudden the demon comes.
Yeah.
The demon comes.
You heard it here. I don't want to think. And then all of a sudden the demon comes.
That's what I don't want.
That's true.
Who wants that?
It sets the tone. It set the tone for this episode. It does have that shadowy, like anything could happen at any time.
And you guys
anxiety.
wrote Amon like the boogeyman.
That's right.
He's
He
definitely
did.
boogeyman
It's her
energy.
boogeyman, to be sure.
He got the mask. He got that voice.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the thing too, is that this show, the audience grew up with this show, so we were sort of, I think creating content for an audience that hadn't had Avatar in their life for a few years, and
Yeah.
was sort of had grown up a little bit.
Yeah.
Totally.
We had a few people that were now entering, working on Korra that were like, oh yeah, I was watching this during college, or I was watching this
How
in
old
high
did you
school.
feel
Yeah.
when they came in?
Very old, even older now. Quite old.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, we meet people at cons all the time. It's like, I grew up watching. You're like, you're a grown person.
That's right.
And with
Yeah.
a full
You
gray
have
beard.
your
Yeah.
own kids now. It's crazy.
It's the better version of that, and my favorite version of that is the thing that doesn't make me feel old, which is a 16-year-old. It's like, I grew up watching your
like,
show,
thank
and you're
God
like, you think
you're still growing up.
I love you.
I
Oh,
know.
it's so cute. I love it so much. And again, it makes me feel very young.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
oh, if you're grown up, I'm good.
We're right here.
I'm good. Yeah. And it's funny you would say the boogeyman, because now I'm tying it all together in my head, which was like before I ever knew what a Nightmare on Elm, like I'd never seen a Nightmare on Elm Street, but someone told me about the idea,
Yeah.
like that someone can come in your dreams and kill you.
Yeah.
And that is
Great
Korra.
premise.
She spent her whole life up to this point understanding her purpose as being completely tied to bending and her bending and her specific journey as an avatar. And then she comes to Republic City, and within a very short period of time, someone's like, oh, someone could just take all of that away.
Yeah.
Like that.
Your entire
Like-
identity can be stripped of
Yeah.
you.
That's terrifying.
And really, this is the first time we've seen her truly vulnerable. Like, at least
yeah.
express it in this way where you're like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, she is very human. She's not
Yes.
just an MMA fighting waterbender.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. She comes on so hot, and then which I think you see a lot of people that have so much bravado, and whether they can do it or not.
Yeah.
The more they put that out there, you see them get shook so easily. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? You can see that there's fear in all of us.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And also, I just want to quickly give a shout out to Korra, because she also apologizes.
Yes.
When she's wrong from the jump in this show,
Yeah.
the problem is that she's wrong a lot, but she never she doesn't hold on to something in that prideful way.
I'm really sorry about everything I said. I was really frustrated with myself, and I took it out on you.
Like when she,
Right.
when something, she apologizes.
She's not a
to Tenzin,
grudge
she
holder.
apologizes.
She's not a grudge
and
holder.
she
It's great.
owns her stuff. Like
Yeah.
she owns her mistakes, which you could see her not doing that. Based
Easily.
on like being told, oh, you're the Avatar from so young, you're so
Right.
talented, you're so
Sure.
skilled, you're gonna be so great. You could see her not having the ability to be humble and to be like,
I
wow,
got
I
all
was
the
really wrong
answers,
about
yeah.
that. I'm really sorry. Like I'm still learning. Like
Yep.
she does, she owns that.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm as defensive about Korra as you are about the Fire Nation.
I feel like you guys are really holding your
We're
positions
working through
here.
some stuff right now.
We're working through some
We're just
things.
working through some stuff. It's fine. That's why we watch
The
art.
original
It's
series,
fine.
there's a lot of hate on the Fire Nation, a lot of pushback on Fire, and rightfully so.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
But there's some good people
There's
in
some
there.
good
There's some
great people in the Fire Nation.
Yeah.
Good folks.
Absolutely. Obviously, we have some like love and relationshipy kind of stuff in the first series, but a lot of it is centered around Aang having this crush that is this ongoing
They're
thing
kids.
that feels, like
They're
it's not
kids
being
in the
returned.
first
Yeah.
series. This
And
is different now.
you have this. You also have this super super high stakes thing happening, along with like the basic stress and strain and heartbreak of hormones and just like feeling like you want to be liked and you want to be attractive to someone and you're at that age where it's like crushing if the person you like doesn't like you. That's
whole
all.
nother
It's
thing.
like
It's a
life
whole
is all
nother
still
thing.
happening.
Yeah.
Life is all still having to happen. And the whole Mako and Korra and Bolin thing is sort of taking shape. And then on top of that, already kind of being maybe a thing, we got some people making little eyes, looking across
shaky
the bay,
eyes,
looking
little
across
shaky
the
eyes.
bay,
A little shimmer.
Little
seeing
shimmering
what's going on
eyes.
over there. What's she thinking? And then in this episode, we just complicate it yet further with the introduction of one of my favorite characters in the series, who has a very violent meet cute, as we say in the business,
Yes.
with Mako. We are going to meet Asami. Let's take a look at that real quick.
There's that scar.
Look at that scar.
I love
I
all
love
the
this.
vehicles.
Oh, yes!
Yes. Such a cute little scooter, too.
That's a great scooter.
So I will say, I think this scene works because I was watching it with my 9-year-old last night.
Yeah.
Whoa, there it is.
And when this happened,
The hair flip.
Yeah.
he like watched and then he got real sheepish.
He did?
And he was like watching from behind the couch, like,
He still got sucked in.
yeah.
Brother hits me harder than that every day in practice.
Really cute.
She's so cute. I mean,
You're Mako, right?
whoa.
Play for the Fire Ferret.
Best case scenario.
I
Best
know.
case
Oh, that she immediately is like, I
ever.
know who you
So
are.
embarrassed. My name's Asami. Let me make this up to you somehow. How about I treat you to dinner? Tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, Kwong's Cuisine.
Kwong's? I don't have any clothes nice enough for a place that classy.
I'll take care of that.
Gets better.
My
need
gosh.
She's also taking you shopping or something.
That being said,
It's a date?
Yes.
those glasses
it's a
and that
date.
helmet remind me of the Equalist. I'm just saying. Or the Chi
Ooh,
blockers.
well,
I'm just saying.
I mean, there may or may not be a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the
so
look back,
beautiful.
the look back, Mako.
And
Mako, the look
yes,
back.
I mean, I think that's the
Yeah.
delicate balance, right? Is that the
So-
show can do that,
Yes.
and then the show
I
can
was
also
not ready.
do.
I was not ready at that moment to meet Asami. She came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And there was no warning. There was like, okay,
Yep.
there's a nightmare, and then Asami. Oh,
Yeah.
whoa. Hair flip.
I know.
She's seen your
Yeah.
work, Mako.
My gosh.
Yeah.
It's
This
almost
is
too
like,
much.
has it,
almost
has
too
it, I
much.
mean, maybe once in a blue moon that'll happen. I mean,
Sure.
God, this is the greatest.
Yeah.
The best.
It's the best. And then
mean-
she's like, and then she asks you out on a date.
And then
she
she's
asks
gonna-
you out on a date.
She's gonna buy you clothes for the date.
What's
Yeah.
going on?
I know.
Well, we don't know. She's like, essentially, she's like a Ford or like a whatever, whoever
Sure.
owns it.
Right,
You know what I'm
right.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
Oh, you're a Kennedy? Oh, cool. I'll take the jacket.
Yeah. I mean, that's the charm right there.
Yeah.
You really got.
But it could also put someone on their back heel,
It's
depending
true.
on how they grew up and what their traditions are or what they expect. You know,
Hmm.
you could be like, whoa.
Very
like, where's my
easily.
power in the situation?
Very
Like, she's
easily.
buying me clothes. She's,
But
she's,
I will
This
say
situation-
Mako just rolled with
Mako
he
it.
does
was
roll
like-
with it.
He was good.
And you said the vehicles are great.
He's in shock. He's still stunned.
Yeah, he's like, what's
He
going
just
on
avoided
now?
getting very seriously hurt.
No, he was, and she's in a gorgeous girl.
She's beautiful.
She's, she hit you with a scooter.
You guys really
That could hurt.
hit the like that old Hollywood, like she takes the helmet off and the
Oh,
hair is still
God.
immaculate.
Yeah.
It falls perfectly
I
into
do remember
place.
specifically Brian bringing in like a stack of old Hollywood photos and like even her the shape of her eyes and the way she does her makeup and the really strong
Yeah.
lipstick. It was like very sort of 1930s.
Yeah.
I think it was like Rita Hayworth.
Rita
or someone
Hayworth,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
100%.
And then I
Which, who
think,
doesn't love
and
Rita
I think
Hayworth?
Lin Beifong was more Marlena Dietrich.
Yes,
Yeah.
like
correct.
that sort of like
That is
yeah,
right.
it's great.
Scooter. Any choice on the scooter? Which I love scooters. I have a
Vespa
Harley,
time?
but I have a Vespa. I've had vintage Vespas.
Yeah.
I know exactly what Vespa that is.
Yeah, yeah.
very cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, it's the lens on what's this alternate reality where technology just went kind of to the
for
left,
sure.
And I love all the styling of the clothing too. It's like that 20s, like very boxy, kind of cool, angular. The whole thing is.
She almost looked like she had like a pilot's jacket that was sort of cinched tight,
Yes. It's great. It's great.
Who doesn't love Asami?
I mean, everyone knows.
Yeah,
how
she's
I feel about
cool.
Asami.
She's super cool. I mean, even though it's my first time watching it all the way through, I do know how it ends. We all know it's a classic. So, but going through this, I'm like, oh, what's going on right now?
Yeah.
This is interesting. She's really into Mako.
But also, I would say the best representation of a non-bender that never really feels powerless in a situation.
Right.
Is just like owns her sort of status.
She is a rich girl.
Yeah, well, but also
of
a
the
badass.
richest. And a badass. Oh no, she's a badass.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't really seen what she's capable of yet, and we continue to have those moments roll out through the series, but it is very clear that she comes in a position of power, and not necessarily in a position of class power, but that does exist. But certainly, just owning her space and seeing and taking the opportunity. And I mean, she was maybe driving a little recklessly to even get herself into that position.
Also, Mako was like kind of dazed and confused coming out.
He was stumbling. It's not always the biker's fault.
Yeah.
All right, it's not always the biker. We're just riding our bikes. You can't hear us coming. You're doing jaywalking.
Whoa. First the firebender defense, and now the biker defense.
Now the biker defense. Hey, man, share the road.
Oh, no. All right, let's just what we see before we kind of get into what happens with Korra and these kind of visions, because we got to take a look at that, I think, as our last clip. But this Tarrlok character, we talked about him a little bit, but he's got this idea that on its face feels like, well, yeah, of course you want to have a task force against Amon. Like, of course you want people to be rallying to make sure that we are doing the right thing and that we're organized and that it makes sense and that we have a plan of attack and all of that about Amon. But Tenzin is so kind of not loving Tarrlok's approach. And we very quickly, I think, are on the side of Tenzin from the very beginning of the series. Like, you 100%. Get a sense of him right away with his family and just the person that he is. And knowing he's Aang's son. Like, talk about cred. Yeah. You're coming in as Aang's son. He's our closest connection to one of the most delightful people that we, ever have seen in anything, much less the Avatarverse. So when he is kind of like, got his hackles up.
That's a term.
But so that goes a long way for me anyway. I'm sure, for people watch, like when you're like, okay, if Tenzin doesn't like this, I should pay attention to that.
Yeah.
Tenzin and then you're mad at Korra. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I look at that guy and don't like him. Jump Street. I don't want to go nowhere with that guy.
He's slick.
He's
I don't love that he bursts into their family dinner.
He walks in.
They're literally in prayer. They're literally in prayer.
Which means he's made it past the gate, past the front door.
Good point.
What's he doing?
He just walked in.
Good point.
Might have been due to the fact that time was of the essence in making the episode. We just needed to get it there. But if we're looking at it from a story perspective, he just walked in there.
No, but he could talk his way into anything. Yeah. I think you just backed it up.
He's very politician-y.
Yeah.
I don't like him.
But that's a pure instinct.
Let's look at this thing that happens, which is we don't have any sense of Korra having a relationship to past avatars yet. We have no real sense of. We know that she's real bad at meditating.
Yeah.
Right. We know that she has had trouble accessing airbending, which is definitely one of the more spiritual sides of bending. One of the most so. Now she's having these visions. They go by real fast.
Yeah.
You guys don't give us a lot to work with.
I think I kind of missed it. It was almost like a subliminal thing for myself when I was watching. I was
it's quick.
I would think about it like 2-3 scenes later, like,
what just happened?
Because you don't like explain it. You just kind of have it and you move on with the scene, and it's not like she's not even going, I had
she's
a vision.
also seeing specific sort of moments, right? It's not necessarily like visions of like people in a spirit world. They're very specific.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, did this happen?
Well, there's like the thing was a grown up Aang. And I was like, because I've seen it at cons and on things, and I was like, where did they get that? You know, and then I'm like, oh, it's in Korra.
Right. All right. You had to do the whole loop coming back to understanding how these things are showing up. Because
I'll see pictures of the grown-up Aang, and I'm like, where did they? Did someone? Is this fan art? Like, what's going on? That's cool. He has a beard, and then it's like, I saw. I was like, oh, that's that. Oh, okay.
A beard that continues to remind me of Mike DiMartino.
Very much.
Yeah. Oh,
he is Aang.
Oh, yeah.
He continues to be Aang.
He is Aang.
He continues to be Aang.
And I will say Brian's hair sort of grows and shrinks with the Zuko of it all.
With the Zuko.
I saw a drawing that Brian did of Zuko. That was it was definitely him.
Yeah.
And it was like it was so Zuko. It's like, oh my god.
You can't not put a little of yourself into the art.
It's great.
That's right.
It's so great.
That's right. Well, how much of you is in Korra? That's a question.
I don't know.
Look at the eyes. Look at the eyes. Look at the eyes.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think I related probably the most to her dad.
Yeah. We haven't you barely got any time with her dad.
The dad was there, so he was in the room. So
Yeah, but
you'll see.
He has some moments.
Yeah.
He has
You'll
some
see.
moments.
You'll see. To come.
Yeah.
Let's look at the visions. Let's take a look at those visions.
Yeah, because it went by so fast.
Let's take another look.
Aang?
Korra! Korra, are you all right? What happened? Was Amon here?
Yeah. He ambushed me.
Did he take your bending away?
No. I'm okay.
Oh, thank goodness.
I was so terrified. I felt so helpless.
It's all right. The nightmare is over.
You were right. I've been scared this whole time. I've never felt like this before, and I don't know what to do.
Admitting your fears is the first and most difficult step in overcoming them.
That was tough, right?
You definitely saw Toph.
Yeah.
No question about it.
And somebody who looks like they had Sokka's haircut.
It was Sokka, I think, too. I don't know. It was so fast. Oh, she's crying. She's crying.
Yeah, this was really the moment that we see her, I think, at her most vulnerable. Here's what I like about Tenzin, though, is that he recognized both the funky vibes of Tarrlok, but he also recognized that Korra might not be making a decision for herself.
Yeah.
And wanted her to sort of be true to herself.
Yeah.
He sort of picks up on the vibes.
Oh,
what a heavy scene, Janet. You remember that?
I know.
Remember that scene?
I do, because that was the first time on this show I cried, and I remember Andrea was so, like, kind, and I mean, luckily this was the last scene of the episode, so I think she cleared everybody out, so it was just JK and me, and I think I just remember her being really kind and very, like, basically, and this is one of the things we all love about her, is that she was like, we can be here as long as you need. Like, we're going to do this till you feel good about it.
Amazing.
And like, whatever it takes, like, I got you. This is there's no pressure.
Yeah.
Let's just like do the scene. And I don't think took me very long to start crying because the writing is so good. But I just remember, I definitely cried.
The fans
I definitely cried.
New to
no
Janet
question
crying.
about it. Yeah.
They're not new. You guys out there are not new to Janet
it's
crying.
It's not really a skill if it just happens to you when you don't want it to either. So, but yeah, and I just remember her. It's so funny how much that like sticks in your mind because I have so few memories that actually like cement in that way. But I just remember her leaning a little bit into the microphone with this like very sweet, satisfied smile on her face, and she just goes, "Good girl."
Wow.
Which, that could sound like you're talking to a dog, but like
no,
that's not what she
amazing.
meant. She was just like,
amazing.
You got this.
Yeah.
And with JK and you and JK in the room together.
And it was the first time I actually allowed myself to feel like maybe I'm doing an okay job because we're so hard on ourselves, and this was such a dream job.
No, it's good. When I was
and it's
watching
not that deep into the series, so there's a few episodes where you're like, I could still be replaced in a heartbeat. Like,
and you guys are sometimes just speaking into the void in a way, like if there's that's amazing. That's so good.
I liked it when I watched it. When I watched, I was like, wow.
It's a good scene.
Like, that's so good. I'm so proud of you.
That's how I feel watching.
And then I was like, That's not the JK from Whiplash that I know.
No, it's not the JK.
Opposite.
It's not the
Whiplash teacher.
It's not a newspaper editor who's mad that you didn't get the story.
No,
it's
not
so
that
gentle,
guy, yeah.
and he's so fatherly with her. And I love that he sees that there's a need for that, and that it is. That is going to naturally be a part of the process, especially if she's removed from her family.
And I love the way you hugged, like when Korra hugged him. It definitely, of course, it brought me back to Uncle Iroh and the Zuko hug from the original series. It was like one of those needed hugs.
Yes. Yeah. He really shows up for her, and I think he very quickly understands how alone she feels, and is like, how do I?
And also, like for a kids show, I mean, we've now dealt with sort of like media sort of infiltrating this poor young Avatar's life and sort of manipulating her. She's got politicians sort of running at her. She's literally boxed in.
It's a lot.
And her mentor is really the one that's there for her in the void of everything else.
For sure. So and also just the terror of like recognizing that like Amon could have already ruined her. Like it's so scary when you realize that someone is playing with you.
What's this guy's game?
He's playing with her.
She's the prey in that equation.
What's the deal? What's his game?
It could happen at any time. That feeling of like, I just want you to know.
Yeah.
I could do this whenever,
but
wherever.
I like the part of me that hopes
you have to carry that around.
I know. What's he playing at? Hey, but then the part of me is maybe he can't really do it. That's why he's not doing it. Maybe,
I like this.
That's interesting.
Maybe you can't really do it, Amon.
Snake
oil.
The fact
that you're just selling it out there.
Yeah.
But I'm the Avatar, but you can't. I could be making false hopes in my mind, but in my mind, I'm like, you can't really do it. Maybe.
So, like, maybe the people that if we saw him do it, because we did with Lightning Bolt Zolt, right?
Yeah, and they're not famous people. We could just take it away for a little while, like Chi Blocker, and then...
Oh, I see what you're saying.
We just had him and put him into the forest.
Okay, yeah. So you're saying he's doing something, but it might not be what we think
he's
it is.
claiming he
opposed
could
to,
do.
like... Because I thought you were saying that he got a plant to be like, please don't... please don't take my bending,
No, I just think he could maybe take the bending like a Chi Blocker, but not for all time. It's just longer than other Chi benders.
Well, what I like is that it's sort of on theme for the era that this takes place in. It's very snake oil salesman. It's very sort of carnival barker.
What's real?
That's what I'm hoping.
What technology
in that moment,
is
I'm hoping. I don't know. I don't know, but we've all seen it with Aang do it before, so
it is
we know
possible.
it exists.
Yeah.
And how awful that the time we saw it was with our number one hero, and now someone is potentially doing it like
sort of
just and can just do it over and over and
weaponized
over and over. Yeah. So creepy. So that's the cliffhanger. I mean, you guys, you do not leave us in comfort.
No.
Which I think is the great thing, is why this episode is so successful. It doesn't really pull any punches. It just sort of leaves you with the story.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Like, here you are.
It's grim.
It is grim. It is not a lot of hope right now.
But remember, we did see Mako with the hearts floating over. So that's the balance. That's the delicate balance.
Asami's here, though.
Yeah.
But even like now,
I'm okay with that.
The other thing is like, you guys know the series now. We all know where it ends, so we know Asami's a part of the gang ultimately. At this point, she could just be a cute girl in the street.
Yeah.
There was a few cute girls that we ran into in the last series that didn't really go further than an episode or two.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And we talked about this with Mike and Brian, but the art book taught me that originally she was going to turn out to be an untrustworthy person who was positioned to be this sort of traitor.
Yep.
And that you guys were like, she's too great.
Too cool.
We got to keep her around.
She's just too
I'm
cool.
so glad you did.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you did.
I wish we could do that in life. I wish there could be that girl that we met that just turned out to be bad. They were like, she should have just been good.
If I could just...
Why did she turn out to be bad? I'm going to rewrite her.
Right,
No.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Well, also that, there's complexities there with her relationship to her father and
we got to get into that.
Again, her status and everything. So that's all. It opened up a lot of doors making those decisions.
Absolutely. Oh, it's such a great character development. So Dante's been making predictions about what he thinks is going to happen in each episode. So you're going to owe us how you did with what you thought was going to happen in this one, and then in a minute we'll get to what you think is going to happen in the next one.
Episode 4 was number 1. I said I thought Mako and Korra. I said I still feel something brewing. Which I don't,
Now what? Because Asami's in the picture.
I know.
It doesn't seem like...
I'm all off here. I don't know what's going on. Mako is going to tear into Bolin about how he can get himself in that situation. I thought the big brother would be like, what are you doing?
We're moving too fast.
Number 3, Korra is going to inform the authorities, i.e. Toph's daughter, and they're going to take it seriously. That's
Well,
the
you have
situation.
that going with the council, certainly.
Yeah.
And, like, there are definitely authorities involved.
Yes.
She's not, like, going rogue or anything. Okay, got to talk about the most valuable bending and non-bending.
And tonight's most valuable bender is...
I can still fight!
I think that I have just proved my own point, which is, I guess, not a surprise, because I knew what I was saying when I brought it up earlier.
Okay.
There's not a ton of powerful bending in this episode compared to the non-bending that's going on.
Right.
Like, who has the most powerful bending? I mean, she's duking it out with the chi blocker.
I will say to wake up out of bed, out of a dead sleep into like a
Fire.
big fire axe kick, even if that was the dream.
That was a
right?
dream.
That was a
Yeah.
dream. Well, she's dreaming.
good. She was
powerful.
dreaming.
Good dream bending, although it didn't do enough.
I mean, there's no... Yeah, the bending was actually not helpful.
This is what's scary.
in
I
this
will
episode.
say
This
that
is what's scary.
emotionally, I mean, I know it was Brian's. He was really excited about the idea when she gets pulled into the darkness and you see everything lit up by her fire.
That was cool.
Yes.
If Korra does nullify the sort of like gas that comes out of those canisters. I thought that was
yeah, she
kind of
did
a
that.
cool
That's true.
like flip on. Oh wow, I never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
There's some humidity in that gas, huh?
Yeah. She sort of stops it.
No,
she
that's
ices
important.
it and then sort of stops
That's
the
a
gas
good
from
point.
I
spreading.
like that. And Tarrlok does do some bending.
He does.
I mean, it takes both of them.
When they
guy's
work
been-
together,
takes both
there
of
is
them.
kind
work
of a moment.
together.
Yeah. I think I would be willing to give it to them because I think that also justifies, like, Korra feeling like, oh, we're on the same team.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of important for that moment to happen.
I
which-
mean, he is doing the whole thing from a good place, right? Is he?
as far as we know.
Hey, baby.
Hey, baby.
It's like
baby.
there is a menace going on.
Yes.
So we have to fight the menace.
Yes.
There's no, he did manipulate Korra into joining the Force.
Right.
But they
Which
technically
we don't like.
It was an illegal den of chi blocking practitioners.
They broke it up.
They broke,
They broke
it up.
Let's give it to Korra and Tarrlok. Teamwork. They broke it up.
Yeah.
What happens from here, we don't know. But they did all right. Again, nobody's like, we're not like high-fiving each other over the spending. So
Right.
that's kind of crazy. And
Right.
it's making me nervous. Non-bending. I mean, listen, there's Asami gets her dad. We didn't talk about
flip
this.
of
but
Asami's hair is incredible non-bending.
That is true.
It was just a hair flip heard around the world. For
hair
sure.
flip heard around the world.
That is true.
Also from Asami, she's making it possible via her dad for the Fire Ferrets to compete. We didn't get into that,
Yeah.
but
she's like a dream
he's
girl,
going to sponsor
huh?
them.
For Mako,
She's a
for
dream.
all of us, she's dream girl. Like
She's a
just
dream.
not only it's a hair flip heard around the world. Your dad's super rich, and he's gonna
He's gonna
sponsor our
back you,
team.
yeah.
And yet somehow she's also super unpretentious.
And
just
you're
like,
unpretentious, and you got new clothes for me, and a great
true.
meal.
Yeah.
What
So,
else do we got?
I don't know.
I also have to put in Naga because Naga was there for Korra when she was all worried.
Yeah.
It is amazing when dogs know if you're feeling bad.
Yeah.
And they come to
Yeah.
comfort you.
And my dog does exactly that. He'll just come and put his right on your lap
How
and just
do they
like sit there. They
know?
just know.
I can't tell. Sometimes I think my dog is like, she seems upset. Maybe she'll give me more treats if I just.
You're more vulnerable with the treats. I
Yeah.
see.
Maybe she'll feel. You know what will make you feel better, Janet? Is giving me a bone.
Yes.
That's my concern. I'm worried that that maybe my dog is the Tarrlok in this situation.
Oh, no!
Maybe there's some politicking going on. There might
Good.
be. I also love, just in the interest of wanting people to feel like they can talk about their fear and mental health being so important. I think in the interest of like the benefits of talking through your problems and your fears and
Yes.
not just pushing everything down, that Tenzin is like, hey, you're the Avatar. That doesn't mean you're not allowed to feel
That's
afraid.
right.
And it doesn't mean that you shouldn't talk about it because you have to talk about it to get it out and to not feel like you're sitting on it and festering and being alone in that. So I think that's a good non-bending
That's good.
moment as well.
That's great. Non-bending moment.
Yeah, he's all about the vibe check. Like,
Yeah.
hey, you're making a decision that I like, but I think you're making them for the wrong reasons, which is a big one.
Yes.
And then just the instant ice he's given to Tarrlok when he
I
walks in
do
his
like
house.
how the authority figure is giving Korra, her own, giving her room to make her own choices and path.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a new parent, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I would think, you're like, hey, you got to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta watch.
We've all been to that road.
Yeah.
But so there's a different road. Like, hey, good luck, dude. I wouldn't do
Yeah.
that, but that's what you want to do.
Right. Let's give it up to Tenzin. Let's give it to
Give
Tenzin,
Tenzin.
for all of his great non-bending moves in the show. And well, we kind of talked about our hot takes earlier.
Flameo Hotman.
Hot take.
Oh, you feel that? Hot take.
I think we got there early with you talking about the Equalists and being like,
I know.
I mean,
I'm not sticking up for Equalist. But
I
I'm
know you're
just
not
saying.
sticking up for him, but I think that's part of what makes this conversation so interesting. Is
Yeah.
the conversation of the show on the whole in season 1 is talking about the Equalists and what that brings out.
Although,
what
which
does
is
it bring
odd
to the
because
surface?
the name Equalist, I'm in for equality.
Of course.
That's how they get you.
That is how they get you. But look, I will say, much like there's good people in the Fire Nation.
Yes.
I guarantee you, there's some good people that got roped into the Equalist sort of.
Oh, for sure. For
So-
sure.
100%. Because there are some benders acting out of pocket.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right? And they're not all just the firebenders, you guys. There's always it's always a firebender doing something wild. And they always say it. They're like, oh, the firebender did all this.
Yeah.
There's waterbenders and earthbenders doing crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. Just because it's not bright and fiery fireworks around it.
Right.
Don't mean like water does bad things.
Fair.
It does.
Fair.
It can.
Earth
Fair.
slides things, bad things, horrible things.
Hey, I got you.
Okay, cool.
It's gonna be all right.
It's just not about things
Yeah,
burning
I know,
up.
I know, and we know that.
I'm just saying.
No, we're with you.
My prediction is, you can't really tell the future.
You want to tell us what you think's going to happen in the next episode? The next
Yes.
episode is called "The Spirit of Competition."
The spirit of competition.
What do you think's going to happen?
Number one, Korra is about to go get jealous of Asami. I'm thinking for sure.
I think that's a pretty good
Spirit of
prediction.
competition. I mean,
Fair prediction.
She ain't ready for Asami. Ain't no girl ready for a girl like Asami to step into the situation.
Yeah.
No girl. I don't care if you're Avatar. Stop it with that hair flip action.
Yeah.
I mean, some girls are ready for Asami to step into the situation.
However,
You know what I mean?
number two prediction. Bolin is going to go swoop in and comfort Korra.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
That's a good prediction.
That is a good
I
prediction.
mean,
That's a good
I know
prediction.
little brothers.
Yeah.
I'm a little brother. I have a little brother. I know what little brothers do. If it doesn't happen, I'd be
It's
an
an,
Hiding
it's an
in the
opportunity.
shadows is what you're saying.
It's just, it's the best move.
Great. It's good. It's good.
And then I think we're going to find out more about Amon. Who is this dude that's really... Because we don't know that much still.
Yeah.
I feel like we're going to find a little bit
We've
more
heard
about
his version of his backstory. That's kind of what we've...
I don't believe none. I don't know what's going on with the guy still. It's
Yeah.
just still, he's very elusive in my mind.
Yeah.
He has no face.
I mean, he's trying.
Yeah.
He's trying to
he's
keep it
really
elusive.
good at it. Yeah.
You can see his eyes in there, right?
You
the
can see
eyes
his
say a lot.
eyes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you guys did a good job with
I
those
mean,
eyes.
you kind of have
like
to have
it.
a mask if you're going to really do this revolution, culty revolution. A mask is helpful.
Well, there's a whole conversation to be had another time about like what you feel empowered to do when no one can see your face.
Yeah.
That's a real thing. From like the charming version of that, which is like shy people becoming mascots for their
Sure.
team sports,
Wow.
to
That's
like
a hot take.
He's
That's
wearing the
crazy.
internet on his face.
True.
Is what that is.
Exactly.
Well, everyone just sees what they want to see.
Yeah.
That's right. Including being totally terrified because you don't feel like it's a human
Right.
at all. You feel like it's
And if you
something
die, we can
beyond.
put another person back there.
That's
Whoa.
also a good point. You just blew my mind.
Wow.
The response I'm going to take away from you is when he says something and I don't know if I want to respond with a true answer, I'm going to say, "Hey, baby."
Hey, baby.
That made me so happy. It was a highlight. It was one of the highlights of my week already. Hey, baby.
Hey, baby.
We'll see you next week. Joaquim, thank you so
Thank you so
much
much.
for being
You
with
got
us.
it,
Thanks
babies.
thanks for making such an amazing show.
See you next week.
My pleasure. Thank you, guys.
Dive deeper into the world of Avatar with more of our award-winning podcasts.
Avatar, Braving the Elements is available right here on the Avatar Legends YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcasts.
And catch more Avatar The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra on Paramount+. That's the stuff! You are my hero!